On today's show, the Golden State Warriors are balling on a budget. 72 more points poured in from the bench. We'll tell you about the man that led the way and break down his game on today's show.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to the Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us the number one sports podcast network out there. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Catch it every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. My name's Charlie Walter, host of the show. Catch us on YouTube and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Warriors are balling on a budget right now. I want to give you some of the numbers that their star players from Saturday's game are making and the numbers that they put up in this game to improve the team to, I mean, they're winning games 136 to 116 over the Hornets. They're now 24-19 overall. The Warriors are 5-1 on the homestand. And they did it with a mostly pedestrian game from Steph Curry. I will say this, the all-time great Trojan horse in the NBA, to where even when the points and the assists don't show up as anything special, if you watch this game, you know the impact that Steph Curry made from just lacing up the shoes and stepping onto the floor. They were face guarding him with two men as soon as he came out of the tunnel. I mean, he didn't have room to breathe out there. And because of that, that's a scout that the Hornets put on the Warriors and said, we're going to allow Steph Curry to not beat us. We're going to allow everyone else to beat us. And that's what ended up happening. Everyone else ended up beating the Charlotte Hornets. 72 points from the Warriors bench. The team shot at 55% from the floor, 44% from deep, 23 three-pointers, and a team that's been middle of the pack and pedestrian at shooting threes all season long has now started to wake up from deep in their last few games. And I think a lot of that has to do with D'Anthony Melton, who went 3 of 6 from deep today. Brandon Podziemski, who continues his hot shooting, 3 of 6 from deep today. And Moses Moody, who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for about a month. And now he's had back-to-back big games, 7 of 10 the last game from 3, 4 of 6 from 3 in this game. And then it doesn't hurt that Draymond Green went 4 for 8 and had 20 points for the Warriors today. Balling on a budget, though. What I mean by this is the Warriors got 24 points from D'Anthony Melton, who makes $3 million. Now, to the everyday folk, to me and to you, $3 million, that's not really a budget. That's balling with Bentleys. You know, lots of Bentleys. That's quite a hefty salary. But D'Anthony Melton making $3 million and scoring 20 points in consecutive games in like 3 of the last 5, I believe it is. The splits for D'Anthony Melton are outstanding in the month of January, where he's played 7 games, all 7 of them coming off the bench, has shot 50% from the floor, 42% from 3. Compare that to his 16% from 3 in December, where in 10 games he went 6 of 36. He's up that in January from deep to 17 of 40. The assist number's still there. The steal number's still there. He's getting some blocks. I mean, he just does a little bit of everything. And when you have a player that's that good making $3 million, that's how you're going to make up for a dude that's on your team making $22.5 million, not receiving a single minute, and another player making $54 million that gets a scratch right before the game. That $54 million player, Jimmy Butler. I know there are a lot of rumors out there, not really rumors, just that the initial speculation when you see Jimmy Butler get a scratch right before the game, a healthy scratch this time of the year, and you see it as personal reasons, you wonder for about a half a second with trade season amongst us. And then you see Michael Porter Jr. has been listed is out on Sunday. and you hear a report from like a local Dallas reporter who says that the Warriors have targeted in Michael Porter Jr., and you just kind of wonder. But obviously, that's not the case. Personal reasons. All is well, though. Whatever the almost emergency was is not an emergency per Mike Dunleavy, and Steve Kerr said that Jimmy's good, maybe a scare, should be able to play in the Warriors' next game. What that is, no reports yet. Don't know if it needs to be reported. All that matters is that Butler wasn't out there and the Warriors did not skip a beat. So, again, that's $76 million not on the floor. And I get that the Hornets aren't too compelling. They're just 15 and 27 on the season, but they do have some nice young players. Brandon Miller, 28, 6 of 11 from 3. That guy's trending towards all-star status. And then Con Knipple is trending towards all-star status too, already setting records from deep to start a season. He had 24 points, hit 4 of his 5 threes, had 11 rebounds. That dude can just flat out play. Unfortunately for Charlotte, the rest of their team, Salon, he's trending. He's young, but he's trending towards being a bust. LaMelo Ball, not a bust by any means, but he's a problem for that team. What are they going to do with LaMelo Ball? He goes 5 of 17 in the game today, 1 of 8 from 3, 2 assists compared to his 1 turnover. That's not the playmaker that you're paying a ton of money and expecting to land someone in return. I don't know if it's going to be a Trae Young type trade situation there, but this is a team in Charlotte that's probably looking to build around Brandon Miller and Con Knipple sooner rather than later. But this isn't a Charlotte Hornets podcast. They can figure out what they're going to do with their team. The Warriors team, again, it started with D'Anthony Melton today. 24, 8 of 16 from the floor. We told you he knocked down 3 threes, 5 of 5 from the charity stripe, had 6 rebounds, had 3 assists, protected the basketball, only turning it over once, and was a team best plus 24. That plus 24 tied with Will Richard. You want to know what Will Richard makes in a season? The stand-in for Jimmy Butler today in the starting lineup, he makes $1.2 million. These are late picks that the Warriors had. I mean, D'Anthony Melton, in terms of signing literally after the team had taken their pictures for media day because of the Jonathan Kuminga holdout situation. Al Horford makes $5.6 million. That's not very much. Al Horford, I thought, played a nice game today. 11 points. I mentioned on a show earlier in the year, how many times do you think Al Horford's going to score in double figures? I set it at 3.5 on the season. We're going to run through the experiment now of what he's done. He has gone for double figures 3 times, 4 times, 4 times, 5 times. So he's already over that 3.5 on the season for double figures. And he was kind of a silent assassin in today's game. Had a big-time block, 11 points in his 19 minutes, 4 of 7, 2 of 4 from 3. Just knows how to play basketball. I saw a graphic today from 2K12, back when 2K used to rate the players accordingly, and they went through like all the teams and who was rated what, and Dwayne Wade was 96 and Kobe was a 94, and I'm like, yeah, giving D Wade some respect there. You know, he's not talked about as one of the great all-time players, but in this particular 2K, I think he was still running the floor with LeBron. He was absolutely running the floor with LeBron. Then they had him in a 96. But anyways, long story short, Al Horford was rated an 80 in the game, and he's probably not an 80 in 2K right now, but the fact that he was in 2K in 2012 with Amari Stoudemire and all these different names and is still running around at 40 years of age. Is he 40 yet? 39. He'll be 40 in June. It's impressive. And the fact that the Warriors were able to get these guys right before the season started. Will Richard in the draft in July, and then right after that, Horford and D'Anthony Melton. That's big time. That's big time. And speaking of balling on a budget, Brandon Podziemski, who makes $3 million, had 16 points in the game today, had 6 rebounds, and had 7 assists. I promise you, if you go across the league, you're not going to find a group of players. Let's do the math here. Podziemski 3, Melton 3, Al Horford 5, Will Richard 1. You're not going to find 4 players that make $12 million combined and combine for 62 points in a basketball game. You're not going to find that. I promise you. And that is why there's life for the Golden State Warriors. With the limited trade assets that they do have, that is why there is life. Because a player like D'Anthony Melton comes in and scores 24 points and legit looks like an NBA starter for the foreseeable future, and someone that you're probably not going to be able to afford after this season because he's played himself into a pretty nice contract if he can stay healthy. It was never a question of whether he was a good basketball player. It was a question of whether he could revitalize his career after injury suffered and after another injury suffered. And he appears to be doing that. And he's being eased into this thing. I mean, just 21 minutes to score his 24 points. Come playoff time, he's going to be playing 30 minutes a night. If you're not excited about what D'Anthony Melton is bringing to the Golden State Warriors right now, then you don't like Golden State Warriors basketball. Warriors win. They're 5-1 in their last 6. They're now 11-4 in their last 15. They're hot. They're hot right now. Let's continue the conversation surrounding the Golden State Warriors. I'll try to get to some of your comments. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll see you in a second.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. You know what time it is. It's always time for a little DoorDash. The season's heating up. DoorDash has ways to keeping their fans in the bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun because every player has their bag. And with DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. They're a night where your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. You may not be able to find healthy options, but guess what? After a healthy 30-point drubbing by your least favorite team, beating your favorite team, sometimes you just need some wings. In the group chat, when it says pull up, DoorDash makes sure you show up prepared. Snacks, cups, even a phone charger for the friend who's always at 2%. I'm currently at 14. Thank you, DoorDash. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right. Brandon Podziemski. I'm glad that I did not sell all my shares. I held on. Should I have doubled down? Probably wouldn't be fiscally responsible. We got to see this for a full season. But Brandon Podziemski looks a lot more comfortable out there. And this is about the time where 22-year-olds that have now played over under on Pods playing 150 games at this point. We're going to give you the exact amount of games that he's played. 180. So 180 games in, and Podziemski's starting to figure it out a little. The game is slowing down while his processing is starting to speed up. He's making quicker decisions. The ball doesn't stick as much when it's in his hands. He seems to be penetrating the lane more and more. The drive and kick was money today. The assist numbers, what were the assist numbers today from Podziemski? Had 7 of them. Had 6 rebounds. Had 16 points. 5 of 9 from the floor. 3 of 6 from 3. A plus 16. What issue? 0 turnovers, 2 steals. What issues do you have with Brandon Podziemski right now? The guy that's making $3 million has been pooed on by so many. And it's time that he gets a little swan song here. Now, he's got to keep it up. It's a long season. He hasn't been that consistent throughout his career, but the splits say that he's really starting to heat up. In October, he averaged 11 points a game, which is good, 41% from 3 in his 6 games, 4 rebounds, couple of assists, 45% from the floor. It dipped down to 43% from the floor and 37% from deep in November. And the funny thing is, like, going through the splits, I thought I was going to have some hypothesis here or some scientific experiment that was like, oh, Podziemski's really turned a corner. He's been kind of good all year. It's strange because I've popped on this show many times and said, like, Pods is just, he's got to be better. But like when you go through the numbers, He's been consistently at 12 points every single month. He's been consistently at 5 rebounds every single month. He's been consistently at, a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. He shot 46% from the floor on the season, and he's shooting 40% from 3 on the season. Like, what? To all the Podziemski haters out there right now, what is it? What is it about his game right now? Because all he is, like D'Anthony Melton and like Will Richard, he's a value play. He's someone that's giving you good minutes and allowing you to have some flaws at the top of the roster with some of the money being spent, aka one player that's not receiving playing time. He's allowing for that, whether you want to call it a mistake or whether you want to call it a travesty, whatever your opinion is on that situation. Brandon Podziemski's allowing you to make up for it with some of his play. And frankly, he's ahead of his age. He's 22. I mean, we saw Salon. He's what? Is he 22 tonight? He's 20. So Podziemski's got a few more years on Salon, who's clearly one of those lottery pick reaches or one of those all about potential, all about the measurables. But I mean, Pods was picked way later in the draft than him. I'd rather have Pods than Salon. I'd rather have go up and down certain lineups. I mean, freaking Zach Risache went number 1, and Brandon Podziemski's more available. He's shooting better. He's playing better than the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago. So Brandon Podziemski, come get your flowers. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. I've fallen for Brandon Podziemski. I said that like 2 summers ago. I loved his game, the connective tissue. And maybe I've been a little too high on him sometimes. And when he's played bad, maybe I've been a little too low on him sometimes. But unfortunately, that's kind of been the story of some of the bench players for the Warriors now that he's on the bench. Some of the role players for the Warriors is there's no consistency. There's little of back-to-back games, guys like Moody and Podziemski being extremely efficient and playing really good minutes. They were both good in the game today. Will Richard, awesome. 5 of 12, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, a block. Compare that to his 1 turnover. Will Richard's long as hell. There were some moments today that just really excited me. First of all, the Warriors made history in the game tonight. 10 different guys hit a 3. Those 10 different guys, in case you're keeping score at home, Draymond, Post, Steph, Moody, Will, Horford, Buddy, Gary, Melton, Podziemski. Only Pat Spencer, Trace Jackson-Davis, only those 2 that checked into the game did not hit a 3-pointer. 3rd straight game, the Warriors have 3 guys hit a 3. Let me scratch that. 3rd straight game. Can we roll the tape? Can we cut? Can we cut? No, we got no producers. 3rd straight game where 10 Warriors hit a 3-pointer each. No other team has done that 3 straight games in NBA history. Honestly, it's kind of a niche stat. I don't know how they pull this out of their ass on the broadcast, live. I got to ask Kyla. I mean, she's calling games. Like, are they feeding this into your ear? Like, how are the research team? How do they know this? I mean, I guess it's on the game notes and they're prepped and ready to go, but as impressive as the stat is the research team that consistently pulls these things out. Maybe they just make it up. They're saying, I don't think it's happened. But Melton is excellent. I think one of the loudest moments we've heard Chase Center all season long. And if you were in the arena, correct me if I'm wrong. If there's a situation that stands out as way louder than this, let me know. But I think one of the louder moments this year is when LaMelo tried to go razzle-dazzle on D'Anthony Melton at the end of the 3rd quarter, and D'Anthony just took his keys. He said, "You're not driving on me, buddy. You're not driving on me." Took his keys, went the other way, and got fouled. 72 points from the Warriors bench. You like taking away keys? You like taking away cookies? How about when Will Richard used his long wingspan to just swipe it away? Swipe or no swiping. Swipe it away from Colin Sexton. Said, "You're not going anywhere. Give me that." Took it the other way. Nice win for the Warriors. Without Jimmy Butler, it's a nice win. Still waiting on some resolution from Jonathan Kuminga. For anyone that thought this was going to be a first, second, he could be traded, he will be traded. It doesn't appear to be the case. And I don't know if we're 1,000% out of the clear, but I do think that Steve Kerr talking about the Jimmy Butler moment after the game and saying all's well, the emergency turned into it's okay, basically. I don't think there's any way that this has anything to do with him being shut down because a trade is imminent. And I think it's just a little bit of coincidence that Michael Porter Jr. is out with injury or rest or whatever it was on Sunday. But, man, we'll take it. Warriors starting to shoot the basketball very well. Let's get the season splits on the shooting. That's something that I want to know because they have gotten to be, what are we at on the season from 3-point range? It's up to 36% on the season. So they've improved it by like 1% in the last month or so. But you look at their last 3 games specifically and real time, it's pretty hard to pull this up, I will say. But last 3 games, so they hit 23 today. Against New York, was it 23 against New York as well? It was 20 against New York, but 20 of 45 for 44%. Let's go down the list and see the last time that they didn't hit above like 15 to 23s in a game. Against Portland, they were 23 of 57, good for 40%. Uh-oh. Warriors have learned how to shoot again. Watch out. Against Atlanta, when they scored 111, how'd they shoot in that game? They were 10 of 42 for 24%. So it's just 3 games in a row where they've shot the basketball really well. Ironically, not ironically, it's easy to understand why. This team is built around knocking down some threes, not turning it over 20 times a game, holding their own on the glass when they can, and they've been pretty good in that statistic the last 3 against Charlotte today on the glass specifically. Not that Charlotte's some dominating rebounding team, but it was 44 for the Hornets to the Warriors 41. Golden State turned it over just 11 times in the game, which is below their season average. And for the Warriors, it's pretty good. Draymond had 3 of those turnovers. Curry had 3 of those turnovers. But again, Curry, 14 points in the game, 5 assists, 3 turnovers, nothing to write home about. But in the Steph Curry minutes, everyone else was open. I mean, they were throwing, what is that, teal jerseys, aqua? Teal jerseys were swarming Steph, and the Warriors were just making extra passes. They were penetrating and kicking, and they were finding the open shooters who consistently knocked them down, breaking the paint, the old drive and kick, the old dribble drive action. It worked to a T tonight. Game's a lot easier when you hit open shots. The Warriors did that today, and the game's easier when Buddy Hield knocks down a few threes and goes for 14 points. Good to see Buddy do something, anything. I mean, Buddy, 14 today. I want to know, looking through his game log, when the last time he had a performance like today was. He has not scored 14 since the 4th of December. So it's been over a month since Buddy's had a game like he had today. He did have 11 against Oklahoma City in that punting game a couple weeks back, but even since then, he combined for 9 points over his last 3 games and had 14 in the matchup today. So nice game for Buddy to somewhat get back on track. And again, it's a win in the NBA. Any win in the NBA is a big win, especially when you're starting to breathe down the Lakers' necks, who are getting their asses pummeled right now by the Portland Trail Blazers minus Denny. Is Denny back for the Blazers? It doesn't seem that way. Denny Avdia is not back for the Lakers, or for the Blazers. Who's leading the way? Shaden Sharp and Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant, a name to monitor in that Kuminga deal. He has 22 for the Blazers, and for the Lakers, no Luka Doncic, I should say. Drew Timme, I didn't even know he was on the Lakers. He has 14 at the time of this recording. And again, the Lakers are down 18. That's 3:35 to go in the third as this is recording, so not over yet. Anthony Edwards, 58 today. I think 58? 58? 55. Not bad. 55 from Edwards, who hit 9 threes. Yeeks. Minnesota's tough. They're 27-16. They do fall in the game to San Antonio, though, who have Victor Wembanyama, who went for a casual 39-9 and a couple of blocks on an efficient 12 of 23, 4 of 9 from 3, and 11 of 14 from the free throw line. And don't look now, but his fellow bald baller, because Victor actually shaved his head, looking like the big fundamental out there, and Keldon Johnson shaved his head as well. He's playing good. Keldon Johnson is playing good basketball. He was always a name that I brought up in the Kuminga sweepstakes because I felt like they had so many bench guys, so many guards, and doesn't appear that they would trade him anytime soon because he's having an excellent season and seems to fit in very well with that team. And frankly, from covering UK back in the day, him, Emmanuel Quickley, who else? Tyrese Maxey. I mean, you got some great personalities that came from that team that are legitimately not only exciting on the floor, but pretty funny and charismatic off. So good for them. Anyways, Warriors improve on the season to final number. What are we now? 24-19 on the season. So 5 games above 500. They were 18-19 not too long ago. They have quite the win streak going on. All right, this is Locked On Warriors. We'll finish up with more about this game and the end of this homestand that is a bummer because this homestand's been a lot of fun. 5-1 thus far for Golden State. That's a tease at what's ahead on today's show.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
First, let's tell you about America's #1 sports book, FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour, what kind of boosts, bonuses, and surprises wait for you in the app. Every Friday, 6 to 7:30, NBA Happy Hour, a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
All right. I got a little pep in my step today, folks. Warriors win. My squad, the Cats, take down the #2 Iowa State Cyclones. Not a great night for the old Niners, but you can't win them all. Anyways, Warriors, a nice win. A nice win, to say the least. Seahawks 41, Niners 6. That's not what you want to see. The game was packed today, though. You know, probably some non-football fans, plenty of Raiders fans there, some fans that don't care anymore after the Raiders left the East Bay, and then some Niners fans that just wanted to see the Warriors more. Respect. I remember a few years ago when they played the Rams in the NFC Championship, did the Niners, and the Rams won that game. Rams wound up beating the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I believe it was the Rams. I think it was that game. But anyways, the Warriors were playing like the Cavs or something, and the place was packed. It may have been the Klay Thompson return game where they were going on same time as either way. Chase Center sells out every night. If you're a fan of the show, you've likely been either there, Oracle, you know all about Thrive City, you know all about Mission Bay, you know all about just Warriors games being popping on the regular. We'll see you there soon. Around the league tonight, again, we told you about the Blazers taking down the Lakers. So if you look at and taking down, that's talking this into fruition, I guess. I should knock on some wood. Still plenty of time in that game. But if you look around the league, the Lakers right now are the 6th seed. They're 9 games back of the Thunder. The Warriors are 11 games back. So the Warriors are a game and a half behind the Phoenix Suns. They're 2 games behind the Lakers. They're 2 games behind the Rockets. The Rockets look beatable, folks. Their offense just is not cohesive right now. They get a little murky in the half court. They rely tremendously on Kevin Durant to make buckets. Şengün will throw up some of the wildest fadeaway turnarounds you've ever seen. Amin Thompson still can't shoot. Reed Shepherd's awesome, but he's 20. I mean, that team has some weaknesses right now. They're not very good on the road, just 11-12 away from home. If you got that team in a playoff series, you could potentially beat them. Lakers in a playoff series, you could potentially beat them. Minnesota scares me. I mean, I think we're all sleeping on Minnesota, and that's the team that's going to come out of the West. Anthony Edwards is on a mission. Julius Randle should probably be an all-star or close to it. Minnesota is just, they're good right now. And then Denver, Jokic is out, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row, and they've unlocked like a low-key superstar. I just bought like 3 of his rookie cards because they're cheap as hell, and they're not going to be cheap as hell for much longer. And that's Peyton Watson, the dude out of UCLA, who went for 21 tonight on 8 of 14 shooting, 5 rebounds, a couple of assists. This dude's a bucket. Jamal Murray went for 42. Tim Hardaway went for 30. Tim Hardaway Jr., obviously. Hardaway did not step in a time machine. Tim Hardaway, by the way, did you know? Fun fact, because this was on this date in Warriors history like 3 weeks ago. Tim Hardaway had the worst shooting performance of all time. I think he was 0 of 17. I think that was the right number, 0 of 16, 17 or something in a game. That's bad. Obviously, great player, Hall of Famer, but did not have a great game considering he holds a record for worst shooting night in NBA history. Around the league, Miami, I guess we're keeping a monitor on them to see if Andrew Wiggins gets a DNP, and we can speculate that he's being traded for Kuminga because the money works. But I don't think the Heat are making that trade, so there's nothing really to look at there. Phoenix, will they get involved in the sweepstakes? If they came and offered the Grayson Allen deal this time, Kolsky's not taking it, but the guy gives you 16 pretty much every single night, and he'll chuck up a lot of threes. But I think the Suns at this point, 25-17, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I don't think they're going to come offering. This Jonathan Kuminga, I mean, sweepstakes are usually exciting. This is more like the rummage sale at this point. I don't think Jonathan Kuminga is bad. I think he's got, a pretty decent future in the league as a scorer. It clearly hasn't worked out for the Warriors. Question his IQ all you want. There have been moments, even this season, first 10 games of the year, where he was making the right plays. He was swinging it at the right time. He was pushing in transition and making the right pass up ahead to Buddy to finish a layup or something. But right now, it's like a plague, man. No one wants any part of him. And for the Kuminga stands out there that say that's BS, that's a BS take, the market has continuously spoken for like years. I mean, the best trade offer we've heard that was actually on paper was Alex Caruso. Nice player. Don't get me wrong. And was traded for Josh Giddey. So there's some star power there, former lottery pick as well. But it's not like the trades have been pouring in left and right. Sacramento really doesn't have anything to offer you. I do think that there's like a 10% chance, whether the Warriors are just playing gamesmanship right now and are just hitting the PR machine. I do think there's like a 10% chance that if the deal is not there that they want, that they would just kick the can down the road and finish this thing off in the summer, which is absolutely insanity. I get it. But I don't think you want to take on bad contracts. And I think every team around the league realizes the position the Warriors are in. The Warriors can say all they want. We're going to try to make this work. No, you're not. We can hold off until the offseason. No, you can't. Like, you got to do something with them. And I just don't know which team is going to, unless the Warriors are attaching draft picks to it and it's a multiple team deal. I don't know which team is going to make that deal. Brooklyn, it seems, has been pretty steadfast that they're not really interested. Go around the league. Find me a team and a player that makes sense. Chat, comments, help me out here. Who are we missing? Who wants Jonathan Kuminga right now? Go around the East. Indiana Pacers. How do you make the money work there? Do you really want Jay Huff? I know he had 29 in the last game. Is that someone you potentially want? Is there a way to somehow get Pascal Siakam like you wanted a couple of years ago? No, there's probably not. There's not really a player that makes a ton of sense. Now, I was going through some hypotheticals of teams that have players that are just kind of misfit toys. Philadelphia, someone like Jared McCain or Grimes, and it's just positionally not necessarily what you need. So you can cross that one out. Toronto's got nothing that they're going to give up. Knicks, nope. Celtics, nope. Pistons, Jaden Ivey. Can you get into that? So again, positionally, Jaden Ivey doesn't do it. Milwaukee, Kevin Porter, Giannis. Milwaukee's got a few. But again, they got to be willing to do something. Wizards, nope. Nets, MPJ, Claxton, or bust. And then you go through the Western Conference. Houston Rockets, Jabari Smith. I brought this up in the summer. You got all these wings. You got all this size. You're trotting out a lineup that's 7 feet tall on average. Great for you. But you're 24 and 15 and 5-5 in your last 10 and have just not looked elite like we thought you would. Would Jonathan Kuminga help that out? Probably not. So that doesn't make sense on their part to make any sort of a deal like that. Lakers, maybe there's something there with the Los Angeles Lakers and Rui Hachimura comes into play or something, and the Lakers try to shake it up. But that's really the only other team in the West aside from the Portland Trailblazers. And I guess there are a couple dudes there. I mean, Scoot Henderson's not getting moved and the money doesn't work, A. And then Jeremy Grant's really the only other name. Memphis, I don't think they're giving anything to you. Dallas, they had someone that the Warriors may have had some interest in, or at least Dallas had interest in getting rid of Anthony Davis, and they played him too much, and all they could find of him was, is it a finger? A finger! That's a Harry Potter reference, by the way. Peter Pettigrew, that bastard. Come on. How could you do that to James Potter, Lily Potter? Come on now. And then the Pelicans, they are at the bottom of the standings. Zion Williamson is still like an interesting name to me just because he like set the record the other night for most points scored in the paint in a 5-game stretch or something like that. Like all he does is attract gravity inside the paint. So him on the floor with Jimmy Butler kicking out to Steph Curry from deep would, I think, be pretty interesting. And the money is possible. It would probably take Draymond in a trade. And again, why would the Pelicans want to do that? There's just so many nuances that are involved. But the Pelicans just have way too many people clogging up the paint in general to where, they should build the thing around Fears, Murphy, and Queen, and probably not Zion at this point. But they're not even sure what they're doing. But neither are the Warriors. What are the Warriors going to do, folks? Truly, how long is this going to drag on? Anyways, we've gone long. Warriors get the win. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday night. Let's get to the stretch that the Warriors have coming up, the final 2 games that they have at Chase before they hit the road. It's Miami and it's Toronto. 2 teams you've lost to, 2 teams you had leads to late in the game, and you lost. Toronto at full strength. Miami, that was a game where you threw out the B team, the JV squad, and honestly played better than you would have thought. So I could see a split. That's a 6-2 homestand. That got you right back into this thing. That was the number that I said was acceptable when I looked at this homestand. I said 6-2. You go 7-1, and then you got Dallas up before a 2-game stretch at Minnesota. That's going to tell you a lot about your team. Warriors playing better basketball. Could they have reinforcements on the way? What happened with Jimmy Butler? Will we ever know why he got this late game scratch? Everything good there? Lots of questions to answer around Dub Nation. The only thing we know at the current moment is that the Warriors are 5-1 in their last 6. They're 5-1 on this homestand. Steph Curry is a very good Trojan horse. Melton, D'Anthony can play. And the Warriors are balling on a budget. All right, everyone. Peace. Have a good night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening, wherever. Thank you for being a part of this program.